Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of your favorite 3M channel. And I'm so privileged and so excited to welcome a new brother and a new friend among all of us. Alfonso, welcome, brother. How is everything with you?
Hey everybody, everything's going good. Long day, like I was just saying, but I'm really thrilled to be here. Like I said, there was a little bit confusion. I thought this game was Elder Scrolls. I was like, I know Skyrim was the last one, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. So glad to be here and just looking to give some insight. What God give me wisdom. So yeah.
Amen. That's the perfect attitude. Thank you. Welcome. And I'm looking for our future episode that we will do just one-on-one, where we'll be discussing some of the theological and biblical topics. So I'm looking forward to that day where it will be just two of us. Paul, brother, you helped me in so many episodes, and I know it's been a super long day for you since 6 in the morning. So I'm very thankful that you found time for us. How's everything with you?
Hey, I'm good, man. It's good to be back. Always enjoy these. Not just a day, like a whole weekend has been busy with church stuff and ministry going on, worship team meeting, helping with the wedding, of course, Sunday services. I'm involved, I'm on staff, so Sunday's always a day. But today was also our ministry fair. We had 13 tables of ministry showing off what we do and trying to get people involved. And it was the anniversary for our Arabic congregation. So they are celebrating 3 years. They basically planted a church within our church during COVID, which is really cool. And I've been blessed by them. But yeah, it's been a bit of a weekend. And, thanks to the Lord for a bunch of good stuff that happened. And we had to cap it off with all this. So let's go.
Hey, amen, amen. Before we start going with the gameplay, I just want to give a quick introduction. Why do we do this? I'm well aware that gameplays and playing just video games may not be something that the adults may consider as very mature or something that will be part of their life or their upbringing. And I understand that, but it's been on my heart to try to reach out more to the community that's been neglected, people who love enjoying in different kind of hobbies, people who can see games more than just mere games and wasting time, who can understand the artistic, the beautiful part of video games, who can enjoy themselves in the music, in the design, in graphics, in all these beautiful and fantastic worlds and opponents and this eternal fight of good and evil. And I just wanted to share that enthusiasm with all of those who are similar to me and to us. It doesn't matter if they're believers or not believers, and to help them connect all this imaginary world and beings, through the biblical lenses. So I'm well aware that many of these videos may not be, watched in thousands and thousands of views, may not get many clicks, but I still want to continue this, section or the segment of the channel, because I believe it will reach out to those people that is supposed to reach. And I just want to say that there's no stop from this point. We're just going forward. Okay, so for tonight, as I have announced, we will be covering Elden Ring. I haven't played Elden Ring, but I know it belongs to the subgenre of RPG games, which is well known as Souls-like games. So Dark Souls is a type of games like RPGs that is very difficult, very grim, dark video games where every few levels you are encountering one of the bosses. I grew up playing more traditional type of RPG games like Gothic 1, 2, 3. Their spiritual sequel called Risen. Then much later after that, I played The Witcher 3, which is one of my favorite games of all time. I didn't play much of the Souls games, but I watched many times of gamers playing Elden Ring, and I enjoy it. I think it's a very difficult game, but I also enjoy it. So it's my pleasure to cover this game. Now let me just please read some of the introductory text from a couple of websites. This one comes from gamesradar.com. It says the world of Elden Ring is called the Lands Between, a large realm ruled by demigods and blessed by the power of the Elden Ring and the Erd Tree. A meme that you might have seen, okay, this is not important. The land of lands between are simply one giant mystical continent surrounded by water. We found that Elden Ring map fragments, so take a look. Okay, this is about the maps. Okay, this is interesting. The lands between and the world of Elden Ring is completely new and separate from previous From Software titles. So when guys were making this type of game, it was new for them. Then they're meshing some very powerful, very famous, very successful names in the fantasy industry, like George R.R. Martin. So if you read his Song of Ice and Fire novels, or if you watched the Game of Thrones TV show, you know how important is he. Then they say you, the player, will start your Elden Ring journey in a region to the south known as Limgrave, a relatively nice looking area that features grassy plains, valleys, woods, cliffs, and ancient ruins. And I can tell you guys, the game looks visually astonishing. It's beautiful. As you explore, you'll eventually come across the disease-blighted region of, I don't know how to pronounce this, Kelid, I don't know, that's full of undead horrors, the misty wetlands of Lurnia, and numerous more varied regions with their own environments and creatures. And just a short paragraph from GameSpot.com. It says, your story begins in Limgrave. God is missing. This is very powerful. I was just sharing with Al and with Paul how this is so religious. Like, you can barely find any RPG games without religious aspects. I don't think it exists. But it says God is missing. There's no one in charge. Monsters are running around. A bunch of people are being murdered. And the whole place has stagnated. In Limgrave, you learn about the great will and the guidance of grace, as well as about the Godric the Grafted, a demigod usurper who runs these lands with horrific cruelty. Again, this is such a important part of biblical theology and the so-called divine council segment of biblical theology when it comes to all these fallen deities and principalities who are ruling over certain regions. It is up to you to kill Godric and claim his great rune, a chunk of the magical Elden Ring. Gathering the great runes will allow you to repair the Elden Ring and fix the world. So that's when it comes to the background and to the story, to some of the plot. And now I think we're good to go and just, watch and enjoy gameplay. It has to be 1.5 speed because there are tons of material to cover. So we'll start first with the introductory video, and then we start giving our comments, when it comes to the after we watch the plot.
The fallen leaves tell a story. The great Elden Ring was shattered. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Now, Queen Marika the Eternal is nowhere to be found. And in the night of the Black Knives, Godwyn the Golden was first to perish. Soon, Marika's offspring, demigods all, claimed the shards of the Elden Ring. The mad taint of their newfound strength triggered the shattering. A war from which no lord arose. A war leading to abandonment by the greater will. Oh, rise now, ye tarnished, ye dead who yet live. The call of long-lost grace speaks to us all. Oraloo, chieftain of the Badlands, the ever-brilliant Goldimas, Fear, the deathbed companion, the loathsome dung-eater, and Sir Gideon Othniel, the all-knowing. And one other, whom grace would again bless, a tarnished of no renown. Cross the fog to the lands between, to stand before the Elden Ring and become the Elden Lord.
Yeah, so right off the bat, if we want to talk about kind of theological aspects, pretty interesting that you're being launched into a broken world, very literally, like you can see the brokenness, but the idea of rising up and fighting or working against spiritual powers to restore a place. I mean, I don't know how you can get away from the message of the Bible in looking at that.
Yeah, what I'm noticing so far is all this creepy atmosphere. First, there is no one around you. Second, there's this wind that is sweeping from left to right. There's this kind of eerie, chilly atmosphere. It's like you can imagine it's cold. It's not just dark. It's abandoned place where it's reserved for the undead.
And yeah, difficult fights, complex fights. This isn't just a mashup kind of game.
Yep.
Don't worry, Torrent. Fortune is on his side. We found him here, after all. One of his kind is sure to seek the Elden Ring. Even if it does violate the Golden Order.
But check out this tree, how it, I'm not saying it's the tree of life, but it just immediately resembles the tree of life in my head.
Yeah, they're playing on light and dark there for sure.
Mm. Yeah, this is well known in all the RPG games. There's always sites where you can rest, meditate, sleep, restore your energy, maybe sometimes even advance your points. So this is typical in most RPG games, and it's cool. Just the same like God said, "Hey, take your Sabbath and rest," right?
Yeah, I definitely would say one of the things right out the gate, this like desolate place. It reminds me very much of how the desert or how that was associated, like where dead things belong at. It talks about like stuff like that in Leviticus. It definitely has some overlap here with how the underworld or how the supernatural world was portrayed in the ancient world and in the Hebrew Bible. Like how you describe like the dark, the wind and stuff like that. It's definitely parallel because this definitely doesn't look like a place for the living. Uh, without a shadow of doubt, it's definitely like a place for the living. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd almost call our words from Genesis and creation here, tohu and bohu, sort of empty and wasteland. It's definitely not friendly and hospitable to life. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great example. By the way, I forgot to give credit to this YouTube channel. It's called MKIceAndFire. It has already 3.5 million subscribers. So yeah, whoever is watching, if you enjoy gaming, feel free to subscribe and to help these guys. They're doing phenomenal job in all their gameplays. They're doing really amazing job. They know how to play well. They barely ever die. They're not wasting time. So I just want to give them credit because the videos that I'm using sometimes come from their channel.
I was also going to say, with this kind of having some overlap with the way that the underworld Sheol is described in the Hebrew Bible, this makes a lot of sense why in the Psalms you see these prayers that God wouldn't leave his righteous ones there in a place like this. You get references of God being the God of the living and not the dead. If this is, I'm just saying, if this was anything similar, to what Sheol was like, it would make sense. Obviously, while there was some expectation that God, you see David praying prayers like that quite often, that he wouldn't leave, his faithful ones in a place like this. So, I think, there's an overlap there, but there's also some hope, in a real base sense. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that comparison. It brings a lot of truth, not just explaining the Bible, but also in Apocrypha, which we read in the intertestamental period of 4 centuries. Uh, yeah, that's a very good discernment. Oh, this is beautiful. Wow. Wow, look at this world. It's like almost you want to live there.
Oh, yes. Tarnished, are we? Come to the lands between for the Elden Ring? Hmm? Of course you have. No shame in it. Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless. Without guidance, without the strength of runes, and without an invitation to the Round Table Hold, you are fated, it seems, to die in obscurity. Luckily for you, however, there is one shining ray of hope for even the maidenless. Me, Vare. Take care and listen. Are you familiar with grace, the golden light that gives life to you tarnished? You may also behold its golden rays, pointing in a particular direction at times. That is the guidance of grace, a path that a tarnished must travel. Indeed. Grace's guidance holds the answers. It will lead you, tarnished, to the path you are meant to follow, even if it leads you to your grave. Grace's guidance will reveal the path forward, most certainly, to Castle Stormvale, over on the cliff, the home of the decrepit demigod, Godric the Grafted. It's time you set off, I should think, to Castle Storm. If you see, it's time you to castles.
I love this when he was told that the grace will follow him. I love that.
Well, yeah, direct him, and even if it directs him to the grave, but living by grace and it points you in the right direction. Yeah.
Yeah, I was almost correlating this with Proverbs 8 and capital W wisdom, like wisdom. You know, you should follow wisdom. It just, I don't know. It reminded me of that section.
Yeah, there's a flip side to this, though. He talks about that you need to be, you kind of need this power and renown in order to live out your destiny or die in obscurity, right? And that's very much the opposite of how we would otherwise think grace would work. So they've got this mixing motif going on. Of course, it makes a way better story if you're this hero, but that's not always how it works. Yeah, beautiful game and amazing what they can do. In a way, I find this, a good creation and kind of creepy at the same time, which is quite a crafting in itself.
You know, I'm a sucker for castles and ruins and fortresses, so I'm just like imagining I'm there without all the ghosts and demons. I just want to see the castles and all the green parts. I don't know.
Then why not purchase a little something? I am Kale, purveyor of fine goods. I am of an
I thought this game reminded me of another game called Middle Earth: Shadow of War.
Keep things from drying up in time.
I don't know if you all ever played that one. This game reminds me of a lot of that one, real live.
That is a Lord of the Rings game, right?
Yeah. Lord of the Rings, yeah. You know, with a biblical worldview in mind, I think this also illustrates a good example of what the world is not supposed to be like. I think it does a good job at showing what Eden actually really was and the abundance, of life that was, there versus what the opposite of this wasteland, and desolate places like. So I think this, from a biblical standpoint, I think it shows a really good illustration of, this, non-Edenic, world, where death and despair and things like that, exists and dwells. So, yeah.
I just can't wait until the main guy gets a sword in his hands.
Yeah, sneaking up with a pike is pretty impressive, but it's just not the same.
Yeah, since I didn't play this game, I'm just curious how it works. Like, can you upgrade your weapons to like, it's getting sharper, or do you take it to a blacksmith? Like in some games you do that. You can make it sharper, or you buy certain like special magical runes or stones, and then you make it better, or you just throw it if you find a better weapon. I don't know how it works in this game.
Hey, this is a little bit like off top, but what was I gonna say? This is like a really like good book. Like speaking about like the Old Testament, like and stuff like that. I just got it today. I just like I don't know if it was you on Facebook. It was somebody. Did you ask a question like about like Paul, like in the Old Testament on your Facebook like last couple of days? I might have you confused with somebody else.
Yeah, not me.
Okay, yeah, I got it confused. Yeah, with somebody. I could have sworn it was you. What? Yeah, I was confused with somebody else.
I know that you buy a lot of books. I think even more than me.
Yeah, yeah, I'm still paying the price for some of these bad boys too.
That's okay.
Greetings, traveler from beyond the fog. I am Melina. I offer you an accord. Have you heard of the Finger Maidens? They serve the two fingers, offering guidance and aid to the tarnished. But you, I am afraid, are maidenless. I can play the role of maiden, turning runes into strength to aid you in your search for the Elden Ring. You need only take me with you to the foot of the Erd Tree. Then it's settled. Summon me by grace to turn runes into strength. Ah, another matter. I bequeath to you this ring. Use it to traverse great distances. It will summon a spectral steed named Torrent. Torrent has chosen you. Treat him with respect. Shall I turn your runes to strength? Share them with me. Your thoughts, your ambition.
I think he's getting a horse now, and that would be a very cool part because he'll be able to travel big distances in a much faster way.
Yeah, through the checkpoints you can fast travel, but then I think overland you can do this. And runes are the currency, so that you can buy stuff, but then you get these upgrades. But I also think the great runes, when you defeat kind of the level bosses, they give you a really big upgrades. So it's funny how they're it's kind of neat that they're at least consistent. They've got this scaling even in their terms for the leveling up. There you go. He's got a horse and a sword now, Nico.
Horse jumping like the big heights, no issue, no biggie. Well, this is like a magical horse, right? This little valley of bones remind me of the Old Testament when the prophet was given this vision and he saw the valley of dead bones. And when God asked him, can these bones live? And he said, And God can resurrect those dead bones and turn the evil guys into good ones, can turn death into life. So that was that just amazing parallel.
Yeah, it's Ezekiel. I was trying to catch, is he collecting light from the bones? Can you guys see that? I don't know if you can see it better than I can. I think when he defeats it, he gets these little shards of light. I'm just curious because they talk about the grace, there's the light in there, but if even these bad guys have light you're collecting, I wonder what's up with.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I know I love. Well, castles can be very tricky in RPG games. You can get treasure chests with tons of great armor and weapons, but usually the toughest opponent and the creepiest monsters are hiding in these huge caves. So it's like it can give you anxiety. Oh, he finally changed his weaponry. Nice. Now he's like a real knight.
And that was one of the things me and RPGs. I had a hard time getting into them because it was almost like every fight, I'd be like on on my last bar health. It took me a while to get into RPGs. What was that one RPG? Bloodborne on PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I could not stand that game. When I say it was like the first boss, like it took me like 2 hours to get past that dude. Like, man. But yeah, normally these RPGs, they have like the best graphics. Whoever playing this seems like they're pretty good at this. I'm not gonna lie, I probably would have been dead by now.
Yeah, me too. Another passage that reminds me when he was in the cave is that even if he's in the valley of shadow and death, God is with him. So, that's just another parallel that comes to my mind. But man, check out the clouds, check out the sky, like all the background graphics. It's beautiful. It's like sometimes I get immersed into games like this, And once when you finish the game and you get introduced with all the characters, story, you're used to the soundtrack, you're used to these beautiful landscapes. It's very hard to leave the game even when you're done with it.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I've always found God of War to be so appealing. I would beat the game and like still like wander around and play it again, literally due to the scenery. I mean, especially like the new one, like uh, the beauty of it, it can be captivating.
What is the name of John Bunyan's bestseller that say it's the second best-selling book in the history after the Bible? Paul, do you know?
Are you thinking of Pilgrim's Progress?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking about it because Pilgrim's Progress, even though it's theological, spiritual book, it's filled with quests and weird stuff like this game.
Yeah, there's just the idea of being on a journey,
Yeah.
and not everything we encounter is a physical thing. Of course, there's lots of natural beauty and creatures and stuff, but then I guess embodiments of other things as well.
Oh, cool. He can alter his weapons in this game. Cool. Well, that's in most of RPG games. But did you guys saw that huge lighting tree behind?
Talking about the big one, right?
Yeah, man. That's so much like the beginning of Genesis.
Yeah, I can't speak too much on it right now because it was a study of mine that I started, but I left off on it. Unfortunately, like a lot of them, I don't know if it's in Ezekiel, it's in one of the major prophets, but there's a few biblical passages in the Old Testament that kind of have this idea of this tree of life in the center of the earth. I can't remember exactly what passage it was. I want to say the major. I don't know why I stopped. That's why. Honestly, I couldn't find a lot of material on it. So I kind of thought like maybe this is like a fail safe or something. I was like, oh, well, maybe this was something people say, oh, yeah, it's something here, but we don't know exactly. But it kind of makes me think about that. Trees have trees in the Old Testament has a lot of associations, but this one in this game kind of gets me thinking about some of those passages about the tree of life in the center of the earth. It's interesting. It's really interesting.
And Nordic, they also have this big tree, and I know Sean from our channel, he knows much more about it. But it's not a coincidence, and now you see it in the game as something huge and distant. I don't know if it's possible to ever in the game come and actually see or touch this tree, but that would be amazing.
How long will it be, I wonder, before the tarnished tire of the basins to the
Yeah, you're right. There's a bunch of tree imagery like that comes up in Ezekiel, both as sort of a thing that roots creation, and also the four nations. Sometimes they're talking about trees and they're cut down or removed, or Israel's the top of a tree that's broken up and planted like a vine. That comes up a bunch.
Goodbye.
Yeah, Ezekiel. I knew it was one of them. Yeah, it's Ezekiel. That's one of them. Yeah. You got to forgive me. When I like do my Bible reading, the Bible that I normally use, it doesn't have Bible verses or chapters in it. So I'm not like good at like searching like exactly where something was like quoted at, but I remember kind of like the ballpark which it was in.
Man, these huge knights look amazing. It's like a giant. It's like, I mean, it is. It looks worse than Goliath.
I mean, Goliath didn't have a steed. That makes it harder. But also, he's sort of like summoned animals or something here to help him.
Yeah, wolves. Yeah. But look how even the opponent looks so magnificent in his armor. It looks so beautiful, so amazing.
Actually, think about it. The kind of the size difference in the colors sort of reminds me too of other games like Legend of Zelda, Link in Ganondorf. It's got that kind of thing to it too, right?
Man, I think it's one thing when you're fighting an opponent, but a different thing when his horse is jumping on you. It's like, what do you do? I want to see how the castle looks like.
You know, something else I just noticed about that big tree that's in the background that's, kind of glowing. I find it interesting that it's high up. like in the Old Testament, it was normally viewed the gods would, live at, mountaintops and things and so forth. You're kind of distant away from everybody else, like humans, and things and so forth like that. So, you get that in Greek mythology as well. Generally, the gods, live high up, on a mountaintop, Mount Olympus, and things and so forth like that. So I find it interesting that this game kind of has that same element, that this tree of life or this kind of divine, entity, this tree, it's high up. It doesn't look like the rest of everything else. Everything else kind of look like dead. Not where he's at right now, but it seems distant, far off and stuff like that. So I find it interesting. It's got that divine element that, this divine tree is away from everything else. So it's interesting. This game does have a lot of overlap with religious ideas.
Did you guys notice the ghost? It looks like a sleeping ghost, which is yeah, this also reminds me of the place where the Rephaim are sleeping, like they're all nasty, evil, mean. It's like you better not go where they dwell, Are you guys fans of riddles and mechanisms in games like this, like in Tomb Raider? It can look a little bit like Indiana Jones, and while for me it's okay to a certain point, but if it becomes too distracting from fighting from the main quest, then it gets irritating to me. But there could be some people who love all these puzzles and stuff.
So yeah, that's one of the main issues I always had with a lot of RPGs. It's a little bit humiliating to say. The more I have to think, the less interested I probably will be in this game, because I kind of just want to use the sword and just hack at people. It don't really seem like it's been a lot of puzzle solving that he's had to do just yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah, that game I alluded to earlier, Bloodborne. Like I said, first couple of missions, you need to be a genius to kind of make it past some of those levels. But I think kind of more so, this seems like more strategy and planning. What's like going on right now, like how to deal with some of these enemies he's fighting.
Yeah, as I was chuckling a minute ago with those fireballs because it's just a timing thing. But whoever's playing here, our friend, was a little impatient on a few of those. But then you get around. In theory, I like puzzles and I'm okay at them, but I get impatient and want to get on with the story sometimes.
By the way, it's interesting that the church is named the Church of El. I just find it fascinating because of the first two letters, EL.
Yeah, it's got to be a play on words, and it's interesting that that's sort of a home base and a place of refuge, and kind of quiet compared to the rest of the world.
And what is also interesting to me is that you see all these different kinds of zombies, ghosts, demons, monsters, and they're all joined together to fight you over your quest to find the tree of life. But because you have grace with you, accompanying you, and because you have certain people giving you at certain points by divine appointments, you keep progressing and fighting, and other people may carry you to the certain point in your journey. Again, very biblical, very important spiritual lesson.
Yeah, I realize this is a game and there's just mechanics to that to make it a good game, but I was thinking you get a lot of enemies and not very many friends here. That's kind of sad.
Yeah, usually in these games you fight by yourself, but there are those occasional characters that point you to the right direction, or if you do something for them, they'll reward you. So, at least some of those things help. So there's a big dude on the top of the cliff, not the cliff, but the bridge. Oh, he just jumped down. Okay.
I mean, it isn't a proper bridge without a troll, right?
Yeah, I was just thinking, what kind of creature is this? But you said it perfectly. It is a troll. Yeah. This will be probably, because there are different kinds of trolls. This will be probably a mountain troll. So those snow and fire trolls, they can be nasty.
Yeah, it's a little undead looking, but you know, giant, a little grotesque, kind of classic that way. I do appreciate that. It looks like, you know, some planning in your fight seems to help. Some you can just go through and rip through, and it's no big deal. Like when we come with Diablo, most of it's just kind of mashing things and going to fight. This one looks like the approaching and sneaking up kind of aids you. Just like a minute ago there, the guy blew his horn, and then 3 more guys jumped in, right? So if you can get him before he does that, or separate these guys, your life might be a little bit easier. That's good gameplay.
Oh yeah, whoever's playing this, because I think that this channel has different guys, not just one. Whoever's playing, they're very skillful, because like I said, I like also RPG games, but when I play other type of RPG games like Gothic 1, 2, 3, or like The Witcher, I mean, there's still strategy in the way you have to play and dodge and protect yourself, but less than here. You can more enjoy yourself in hacking and slashing here. In this subgenre of RPG games, like the Dark Souls type of games, there's much more thinking about the way you should fight, because every opponent has a certain type of the way they fight. So you have to adjust to their way. So it makes you more think and less. I don't want to say less enjoy. That's not the proper word, but less just play randomly. You know.
Across the sea, for me, they fought. For me. Only to have their arms taken. Their legs taken, even their heads taken. Taken and stuck to the spider. Did you know? If you're grafted by the spider, you become a chrysalid. It's quite a lark when you think about it. You're all on your own, are you? And heading to Stormvale Castle? Enticed by the one in the white mask, I suppose. Oh, you've come to be one with the spider? Well, that makes us 2 peas in a pod. But I don't have your courage. It's scary, you know, having your arms cut off, or legs, or your head. I want to be like everyone else, but I'm just too scared. I'm nothing but a craven. Oh, I know. Can you take this little one along with you? The poor thing deserves someone braver than myself. And the spirits look rather fondly upon you. It'll be glad of your company, I think, the little one. It was a pleasure to see you. Oh, can you pass on a message for me? If you see the little chrysalids in Stormvale Castle, tell them I love them. And that, despite my craven heart, I'm sure I'll be joining their club soon enough. I'm finally getting the hang of this whole pain thing, you know. It was a pleasure to see you. Oh, tell them I love them finally get.
This tiny golden aura is the grace of the Earth Tree. This light once shone in the eyes of your tarnished brethren, but now it is all that guides you. Or so I hear. You can see them, can't you? The rays of grace that guide you through your burden. Upon the cliff in Castle Stormdale is a shard bearer, a demigod, who inherited a fragment.
Yeah, I see what you mean earlier about these divine appointments kind of guiding him back, to this tree of life kind of idea. I see what you're talking about. There's an overlap here with what you see in the Old Testament and New Testament. Well, mostly Old Testament, but I see what you're talking about.
Well, can you see how the weather changed? How it's like it's almost, maybe I'm wrong, but it could be that like the storm is coming, like it's getting worse for the hero.
Yeah, this really doesn't seem like a place you want to be. You want to live at, because I mean that weather is getting pretty bad. This really seems like a uh, very dry place. Doesn't seem like a place you would really want to be at. Really don't. But I do kind of like how not only is the weather changing, like the scenery, like it looks like real weather, like actually changing, like in the background. Like it the graphics on here is pretty amazing. That's uh I look for that in video games, like weather changing and stuff like that. See how real it is.
Yeah, I think it's even spiritually accompanying this reality. I remember having a friend who told me how when she would enter certain towns or cities, she would feel the weather, the atmosphere is different compared to other towns or cities. So there's something when it comes to these regional entities, they're over certain areas. You know, I'm not saying they can control weather. I have no clue if that's possible. I'm assuming in some way it is possible, but it's interesting how the spiritually darker the place is, you know, the weather can accompany all that gloomy atmosphere. So I think it's perfect.
Yeah, I think you got a little bit of an example of that possibly with Paul. I forgot where he was hitting at, but I know they ran into some type of storm or something like that. And if I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn he attributed that to Satan had hindered them from going somewhere or something like that. So you could, possibly, have an example of that, scripturally speaking. But I definitely do agree with that, though. At certain places, you kind of get an eerie feeling, and other places, it's like,
Someone must extinguish thy flame. Let it be Margit the Fell.
Oh, I was hoping this is that demigod, Eldrick.
I think this is sort of a sub boss. This is one of his henchmen.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Man, he
creepy
has
looking,
a
dude.
tail.
Warrior blood must truly run in thy veins.
Man, I was hoping the whole time he can just push him off the cliff. You know?
In fear of the night, the hands of the fell omen shall brook thee no quarter.
Yeah, I really do like how they got that tree. That, like I said, that idea of sacred space. I really do like how they got that set up with that divine tree. That's nice. I've never actually seen that in the video game before.
And whether you are fit to face the challenge.
Well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but I like how they got that set up. That's pretty nice.
You know what? The more I'm looking at the game, I'm more tempted to go and get it and just play by myself. I'm honest about it, so maybe I should go and take it, but I'm tempted.
For but a moment.
Yeah, I was. I don't know if you have. I don't know what console or if you play on PC, but I looked it up on because I have PS5. It's still kind of costly. It's like $59.99 still. Came out last year, but it's that goes to show you it's still a good game. Price hasn't dropped on it after a year or so.
Oh yeah, but the Black Friday is coming, so.
That's true.
Hello.
I forgot about Black
Happy
Friday.
New Year. I'm, well, just
Okay, guys, because
we all know everyone's house
you know
was little
we've been in
important.
this video for like an hour, so I'm thinking maybe just to switch to the last video.
Fickle as the wind.
Uh,
Take your eyes off of
Again, I'm
wind,
giving all the
just listen.
credit to the YouTube channel called MKIceAndFire.
She's a servant, she's been my companion.
This
I've counted all the
guy
times about to find her
covered the whole gameplay of the whole game, 14 videos. This is the first video, just the beginning. So I was thinking about just stopping here. Oh, that's a beautiful chandelier. And just going to the last video so we can just see a little bit, when it comes to the end game, if you guys are okay with that.
Greetings, great
Cool.
champion called by grace. I am Fia. Circumstances have compelled my stay at the Round Table Hall.
This is our YouTube channel. This is all that they do is just like go like cover like different games, or is it just RPGs or just games in general?
Oh, you're asking about this MKIceAndFire? I don't know. I think they're covering all sorts of games.
Okay. Yeah, because they got Mortal Kombat and stuff on here and Final Fantasy. Yeah, they cover all of them.
Okay, let me just share this one. Can you guys hear? You see well?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go full screen. Maybe it will be more interesting for the viewers. Okay.
Oh man, look how it's grown and changed too. We get that hair and a couple big swords.
Yeah,
So
I'm
we can-
amazed. Yeah, amazed
Okay.
with his new helmet and look the weapons. So he has advanced so much in all these 14 long videos. Now he's like a real bad dude. It's like I'm the boss of this game. Man, look at his inventory. He has like helmets, swords, armory, boots, like anything you need, gloves in multiple items. He can pick and choose and carry all of it, in his inventory. That's one of the things I love in RPG games. It's like you can have this unrealistic number of items with you.
Those are their styles or sets too. What he's got on now has a little bit of a samurai feel. I think the helmet's got some tusks or something on it. It's kind of, it's cool how they're borrowing stuff like that.
Yeah, they're like little horns coming from the left and right side. Ooh, look at these mini giants. Guys, this is teaching me another spiritual lesson. Like, imagine this character in the first level when he was just beginning the game. There's no way he would be those two big dudes. So the same thing in our spiritual walk with God. Like, you don't immediately go and encounter, I don't know, some demonic entity. You walk with the Lord, you pray, you read, you fast, right? And then in the proper time, in due time, you're facing your giants or the demons or whatever when you're ready. So just, there's time for everything, including your learning and walking, dancing in the spirit.
and take the time to level up.
Yeah. I don't know if that spirit is helping him, like showing him where to go.
So is he like the elder lord now, or like?
I'm not sure, but he's certainly going to acquire some title at the end if he defeats the final boss.
Oh,
And maybe he'll have that special ring. But I'm not sure. I'm assuming. He just escaped that fight. He was like, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's clearly kind of speed running and trying to get this finished up.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have to fight everything. I'm a little, because we skipped forward, I'm a little less what he's trying to accomplish right now or where he's going. But
Yeah, this is a big difference compared to the previous video. He was fighting literally every opponent he saw.
Yeah,
Now he's
yeah.
like, I'm tired of that. And I have to admit, at least when it comes to my personal preference and taste in RPG games, I prefer third-person camera. Like now, compared to like when we did Diablo 4 last time, that bird's eye view. I prefer this because you can actually see the whole person, the whole weapon, sword in this case. It feels like you're in the game compared to the bird's eye view when you're just like distant, like just just watching someone else. But this is actually being like in the game, so I like this more.
Did that say lost grace discovered?
Yeah. Yeah, every time he finds similar spot in the game like that place, it always says the same message. Man, that was fast.
What just happened? I don't know. It's like the whole scene just changed.
Yeah, I mean, he's still in that same realm, but this looks like abyss. He just keeps going down and down. And all those dead opponents, I don't know if he killed them or they were like already dead before he got there. I'm not sure, but this is you need some skills to keep jumping so precise like that. So, I really enjoy his gameplay. Man, what happened? Okay, I was just about to say what happened to his helmet.
I think actually he took it off to help him with the jumping.
Oh. Man, we just talked recently about a desolated place with no human inhabitants. I think Alfonso was talking about that. And then we see an even worse place. Look, and there's like a hell, literally hell behind it. I think the Bible will use creature names like satyrs, goat-like demons, hyenas, ravens, those type of animals or spirits that you don't want to deal with. They're the only ones who can inhabit a place like this.
Is the tree on fire? I mean, I'm only seeing like glimpses of that in the background. It looks like that tree is on fire.
To become Elden Lord was a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, everything seems to be on fire in the background.
Take the throne. Queen Margaret.
I don't know about the tree. I didn't see that part.
Onto eternity. In my
It's funny that this boss is called Sir Gideon, like the biblical Gideon. Wow, he got all of his armor parts. That's
I just he's called a tarnish, right? Like the people, and they're kind of like the lowest of the lowest, right? Like
it could be.
Yeah, because the statement was just that you what did it say? Tarnish it can't become a lord or something like that. Is that what it said?
Yeah,
Like,
they explain in the beginning, but some of the tarnished are heroes too. Like Sir Gideon is a tarnished, I think,
okay.
from the introduction. But that's supposed to be a different class of people. I don't know quite what he's saying, or if they're trying to point out what your accomplishment is supposed to be so big about. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I was gonna say it's interesting you got this elevation of these lowly class tarnished being elevated to a certain status, a divine status, a lord status. I was going to say that's kind of an interesting parallel to what you see in Revelation 2 and 3 about children of God being elevated to being members of the council, divine status. So
Long and hard didst thou fight, tarnished warrior, spurned by the grace of gold. Be assured the Elden Ring resteth close at hand.
I thought that tree was on fire.
Alas, I am returned. To be granted audience once more. Upon my name as Godfrey, the first Elden Lord.
It's also interesting all the bosses are giants. Like all these divine beings running around. It's interesting they all are giants.
Yep. Man, and the soundtrack is epic. But watch how this tiger spiritual entity is attached to him. So this entity is actually giving him the power.
That will be all. Thou didst me good service, Sirach. I've given thee courtesy enough. Now I fight just Horalu. Warrior! Thy strength
Also, that's not actually the final boss.
Take a look around. The round table hold is burned, razed to the ground. Don't worry, I don't blame you. I'll continue spirit tuning just the same as before, which is why I need your help persuading Master Hugh to leave. His roots are so knotted in this place. He won't last much longer if he stays here. His shackles are broken. He's a free man now. It's high time he put the round table behind him.
And look at him. You see that, guys? Liturgical town. So it could be in a place of some religious activities and sacraments, things of that sort.
Yeah, I totally missed that. I thought it said something else. It said liturgical.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, I totally missed that. You know, it kind of gave me Dante Inferno vibes too, with each different level of hell. Because this kind of got like an ice fortress kind of a theme to it. I mean, it's religious, but it kind of got like a Dante's Inferno like vibe, like these different levels of hell and stuff.
This is a little bit like Assassin's Creed, climbing on heights, jumping. But it's interesting that so far in this town, there are no monsters. Okay, we're about to see the first one. It's not a monster, but it's an opponent.
Spoke too soon.
No, I was trying to make some. Look, he's walking with the arrows in his body. I was just trying to make some parallels. I was like, if this is a liturgical town, maybe in a way it's like a new Zion. So maybe there are no monsters. If this is a place of sacred space, which Alfonso mentioned earlier, maybe this is a place where God dwells or used to dwell. So even though it's abandoned, maybe it's still kind of sacred space, holy place. So I was like, oh, maybe that's why there are no monsters, no opponents. And then as soon as I said it, we just saw a few of them.
Yeah, it looks like sort of a holy place that was fallen as well. I guess he's trying to relight these candles and bring the light back. I guess when that's completed, then he's able to advance and maybe changes the state of the town or something.
Yeah, maybe the town, something happened and it got desecrated in the meantime. So like you said, Paul, maybe he's trying to like redeem this place so the spirit, so to speak, can come back and just restore everything. He keeps restoring this grace, and I'm just, because my imagination and wandering around in my mind is always so active. It happens to me at work, in the church. It happens to me always. So I'm just thinking, could it be that as much as he's restoring this, lost grace, that he's in a spiritual way being almost like a lighthouse keeper who is, slowly one by one torch lighting up and bringing light in the darkness, so to speak. It kind of makes sense. Could those creatures be seen as type of chimeras? Like they have bodies of different creatures.
You said what? You said chimeras?
Yeah, those winged creatures, they seem to have body parts of different animals. So I was just thinking, could it be that they represent kind of chimeras? Man, I have to say kudos to all the game designers. This game is amazing in every way.
There's a lot of detail, really pretty incredible architecture.
Mm. Man, I get almost goosebumps when he starts wielding two swords, and then there's like this electric power, almost like thunder. So I'm thinking about Thor and Nordic mythology. It's very cool. Wow, this is so cool. You know, it's very tricky in games like this when you're faced with a either stronger opponent or if they're multiple, and you have to take your healing potion. In the meantime, in those couple of seconds while you're taking your healing potion, they can kill you, and then you have to start since the last, saving point. And in many games, like including this one, you cannot just save at any second at any time. So that's very challenging when you have to perform some type of either magic spell or like take healing potion. It can be very tricky. Yeah, I remember from those two articles I read from the beginning of the video how the whole game is, well, the whole world in the game is almost like deserted. Like, where is this entity, this high god, so to speak, that is supposed to rule? And because he or it is seems to be absent, we don't know the whole. Every detail in this whole story, and because there seems to no one be ruling at this point, you see all of these multiplication of evil entities. And this character, the hero, comes to bring the light. And you see all these light elements, including candles, torches, and these flying little sparks. And like even this castle, even though it's in ruins and abandoned, you can see the beauty. Not just like Paul said, architecture beauty. You can see also beauty. Hey, someone designed this and made this for a purpose. It belongs to the king. And who is this king? So let's maybe restore his kingdom, you know? And you have the privilege to participate in that, you know, in that war.
Yeah, this castle is pretty incredible, but you also get overgrown vines and these, I don't know, egg sacs or whatever in there, and rubble and whatever, right?
Yeah, because there's no one to maintain it. But then once when the light, when the hero brings the order, it will be restored. And that little bit reminds me of the Hobbit, when the dwarves, you know, get rid of the dragon, and they see their old home in ruins, and eventually they restore it. There is life, there is order, there is light. You know, there is all of these things. So it just reminds me, you know, this segment of the game just reminds me of the Hobbit, of the game. I mean, of the novel. That was Judas stabbing from the back.
It seems like he's getting somewhere. I don't know if we want to scan forward to see if there's a last fight in last cinematic or something. I'm trying to figure out where he's going here.
Yeah, because we're almost coming to the end, I think I should find and just fast forward to the last segment. Yeah, I think we can just watch until he defeats the final boss, and that will be enough for now.
I'm guessing that's the queen.
That's a bad sign. She seems more like a goddess than a queen. This will be interesting to observe.
This is going to sound quite weird, but I don't know if any of you all are familiar with the Jewish scholar Benjamin Summer. He's famous for the book, The Bodies of God. Well, uh, he's got a website, and I can't remember the name of it, but he has depictions of seraphim on there in Isaiah chapter 6. And the way they look, it kind of has the head of a snake, and it's got like these 6 wings and a walk on like 2 legs. I'm just saying, this thing looked awfully similar to that. I was just looking, I was like, man, that thing sure do look like a seraph. Yeah, I'm not saying they got the design from it, but if anybody want to check that out, look up Benjamin Summer and then look up seraphim images, and it should pop up on his website, I think. I got it saved on my collections on my laptop. I haven't looked at it in like a year or two, but yeah, this thing looks very much like those depictions of it.
Yeah, whatever this thing is. Sorry, I was gonna say that thing was a little bit like a sort of a cosmic fairy dragon in a way, right? So
you said what?
I was saying that in a way it's sort of a little bit of a dragon shape, but it's sort of like a cosmic fairy-ish dragon in a way. Yeah.
I was about to say, if a divine being look anything like that, I don't want to see it. I don't want to. That's why everybody probably was scared when they, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
The battle is over, I see. I do solemnly swear to every living being and every living soul. Now cometh the age of the stars, 1,000-year voyage under the wisdom of the moon. Here beginneth the chill night that encompasses all, reaching the great beyond. Into fear, doubt, and loneliness, as the path stretcheth into darkness.
She said the age of stars. I don't think it's just cosmic level, because the angels were seen in the ancient Near East as angels or as divine beings. So there could be more to that. Wow. Gentlemen, it's been a blast. I'm so glad we picked up this game, and I'm so glad we had just under 2 hours of time to see like the first hour of the gameplay and the last almost an hour. I mean, what do you guys think? They're like in Diablo 4, there are like so many elements we can compare to the Bible, but also extra biblical sources, right? Do you want to start, maybe Alfonso? Do you want to go first and just give your maybe concluding thoughts? You can take as much time as you would like to.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, that was pretty chilling. The graphics were stunning. I know a lot of money went into making, a game like that, a lot of talent. A few takeaways. I think the sacred space element was one of the main things that stood out to me, was the tree. It has a lot of overlap with imagery of the tree in Genesis 3, the tree of life. I alluded to Ezekiel with the belief in the ancient world. It's not really sure if all biblical authors maybe would have believed that there was a center tree that held everything together. I think some of that may have to do with how they understood Jerusalem being God's dwelling, being the kind of headquarters of the whole earth, and him being, at the center of it. I think that can, because tree imagery also gets into king language, viewing Yahweh as a king, viewing Jerusalem as the centerpiece of it all. So I definitely think it had the sacred space imagery, the life-giving imagery. I thought it was interesting that each place that he went to, some of the places kind of looked like they wasn't completely desolate, like the liturgical place, but it was still lifeless though. It was kind of interesting how each place had its own different feel to it, but it still had this lifeless lack of paradise imagery to it. That's why I kind of brought up what life shouldn't be like. Yeah, we kind of experience that today, right? We go to different places, we reach different stages in our life. Some stages are better than others, some places are better than others, but nothing is quite like Eden. Nothing is quite like paradise, no matter, how good it may seem. So I definitely think it had some, very good overlap with ancient Near Eastern material. I think there's some good practical applications. The lost grace discovered. I think every once in a blue moon, we kind of have to remind ourselves of the grace of God. We kind of have to keep that in the back of our head of how, good God has been and what he did for us on the cross. So just as well as the tarnished kept finding the lost, grace of, that was discovered. So we don't have to rediscover the grace, but we do have to maybe, in a way, I don't want to use the word reawaken, but kind of keep ourselves fresh with it, not, to allow it to become stale in our lives. I think that could make for good devotions as well. So I think it was an excellent game. I think it had excellent, imagery. The Mountain of the Giants. I don't think we got into that in any of the videos, but I read it, in the caption when reviewing this game. I think it was interesting that all of the demigods were giants. Go figure. Semi-divine, they were all giants. The imagery, or at least the way that elder beasts look, it did look like a seraph. Like I said, you can look up Benjamin Summer. I believe his last name is S-O-M. Summers, M-E-R-S. I believe that's how you spell his last name. He's a Jewish scholar. He does have depictions of what seraphs, or at least I think in ancient Babylon, I believe, what they would have looked like. That thing looked very similar to one. That's why I said if a divine being looks like that, that may be why God always have them come looking like men. You may not want to, see it what it really looks like. But I thought the game was excellent. I think there's a lot to unpack there. Obviously, you can't cover all that in 2 hours, but I'm just, thankful to God I was able to join you all tonight and give a, little insight here and there. And I look forward to the next time. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think good game, interesting game, immense world, a lot of detail, very open, which is a lot of fun. Comprehensive story that they're telling. But I really do think that, in a way, the gospel is represented there, right? That seeking grace, finding grace, following the light, restoring yourself, building yourself up, restoring the world, as things go together. I forget who I was listening to recently, but they were talking about, to a point, sin and fallenness and trauma, and how even in ourselves that parts can go into exile and become broken and separated. But as we let the Spirit work in our life, we come to be restored and reintegrated and brought together. And in a way, I think this game seems like this, where you're going through those levels and the variety, but at the end, the ring of the world is sort of recreated, right? And I think that's the Christian story, to a point. After as we seek after Jesus and let the Holy Spirit work on us, that we're recreated and reintegrated. And yeah, we got to preach the gospel to ourselves every day and remind ourselves of that story. And yeah, so pretty cool. Interesting how they're not trying to be super religious or Christian, but all of the elements are right there, right? As we're picking up stuff as we're going. So good conversation, guys.
Yeah, I'm reminded of one of my theology professors back at Moody who said everyone is religious. Everyone is deeply religious. They don't have to display that in the same way and fashion the same way as we do. They may not be even aware of that, but their whole life is a liturgy. Liturgy to whom? That's a big question, but we're all deeply religious. I just see the beauty of this world. So there's so many traps, there's so many dangers, there's so many battles, there's so many quests. But in all this darkness, the hero is in a way carrying his torch. He's carrying the light and he's carrying the sword, the word of God, right? And with these two tools and weapons, he's going and just illuminating the whole world. He's bringing light to the darkness. And you guys explained and summarized the game in a better way than I can. I'm just saying what you maybe didn't say, so I'm just adding that little part at the very end. And I don't know about you, but like I imagine many times in games I'm that knight, but also in real life I'm maybe I don't have that armor visible, maybe I don't have that sword, even though I keep thinking I should buy one sword on eBay, like for I don't know, $150 and just put it here. It will be a nice addition for the channel eventually. But I'm thinking, even though we may not be carrying all these shields and helmets and swords in real life, but in a spiritual way, we carry those things with ourselves. And while we may not be fighting those giants and golems and ogres, we're fighting some other spiritual entities and realities and challenges in our everyday life, right? We all have challenges and issues at work, family, neighborhood, whatever. Just recently, we had police activity in my neighborhood. It was almost 1 a.m. and we had a whole squad of police cars. And the reality can be even scarier than what we see in those video games. Again, we may not see all those giants big as a building, but we're facing with some other stuff. And it's up to us, if we will be illuminating light or bringing darkness in already dark place. Now, do I always behave and portray that sort of knight paladin with sword and pure heart and light in my everyday life? I don't. I fail. But there's this desire to enjoy more games and storytelling and see more biblical parallels and portray that on this channel in my writing a novel and also in my spiritual walk with God. That being said, I'm done with this. I just want to say, Alfonso and Paul, I really enjoyed tonight. I know that both of you had a very long, tiring days with work, with church, with families, with just daily activities. So I appreciate you for coming tonight. And like Alfonso said, I'm just looking forward when we can do more of these videos. We will see when it's suitable for everyone. And yeah, I would just invite viewers to start thinking when it comes to games more than just mere gaming and wasting time. Think about storytelling. Think about deeply embedded spiritual and religious messages. Compare it with the Bible. See them what they're talking about. When I had a few weeks ago, Dr. Louis Marcus, I have a couple of his books because he's writing about reconciling pagan literature with the gospel. He told me, I will never forget that saying. He told me that sometimes for his devotionals, instead of reading devotional Christian books, he reads pagan Greek literature because he can find more meat in those books than in some Christian devotional books, which is on one side disappointing for those Christian authors, but it's also amazing how God is the God of all the truth that has revealed himself to even to the pagan philosophers. So I would just call all the gamers, and especially if you're a Christian, start thinking when you see a game with different eyes. Start analyzing, start seeing what you agree with biblically and what you disagree with. Start implementing good things. And if someone is belittling you and putting you down, as I've heard many times in our lives, in my life, just because you're a gamer, be prepared to gently tell them, why do you game? What do you see? What you analyze? And just start telling them how video games are a form of art and beauty that is pointing to the bigger beauty, the universal, well, not the universal, but the big creator who is behind all this content, and how by playing games, you're actually immersing yourself in this spiritual world. And the earth is not just physical realm, it's also the spiritual realm. And just enjoy games. Don't feel condemnation when it comes to other people who are just immersed in other hobbies, but they would want to put you down. Don't listen to them, but also be always ready to discern and listen to the Holy Spirit if you're supposed to. Stop playing some games or not even start playing them, because you have sexual games, you have games that are utterly demonic. The same with movies and music. Just discern those things. As the Bible is teaching us in the New Covenant, like, why are you listening to those people and to those commandments? Don't touch, don't see, don't taste it. We're not walking in that. We're walking freedom in the Spirit. But also, that doesn't mean that you should go and try and taste everything. So don't walk by the religious rules of those people who tell you that everything except the Bible, everything except the Christian music or movies is bad. But on the other side, also, don't immerse yourself totally just because you have freedom in the Spirit. That being said, thank you guys for this wonderful time tonight. I did enjoy. I'm looking forward to the next meeting. And yes, I would just invite everyone to keep sharing and liking and commenting on these videos. And if you have any special video game that is on your heart that you guys would like us to analyze and review next time, please send us comments through the either Facebook or even better YouTube videos. We will review all of them, analyze, and think about that. Okay. That being said, have an amazing week, and God bless all of you. Thank you.